Determining how healthy the Hawkesbury Nepean River system is using a macroinvertebrate field study by Matthew Schmidt and Alissa Lancuba. The world population is expected to increase and then flatten out around 10 billion people, with most of the increase expected within Africa. Deforestation has placed strains on resources and pollution has accelerated the rate of climate change. The FAO says that deforestation includes areas of forest converted to agriculture, pasture, water reservoirs, or urban areas. However, the term specifically excludes areas where the trees have been removed as a result of harvesting or logging, and where the forest is expected to regenerate naturally or with the aid of silviculture measures. Water has also been placed under strain in urban areas especially. Less than 1% of Earth's water is fit for consumption. Water conservation, use, and quality affect whether a country can meet demands. Worldwide, water scarcity now affects 1 in 3 people. Approximately 70% of Earth's surface is covered in water, and less than 1% of that water is unpolluted, potable, and fit for consumption. Essentially, if you could put all the world's water into a gallon jug, the fresh water available for use would equal to about 1 tablespoon. So while our continents may be surrounded with water, sustainable practices and water conservation have never been more important to combat the very real threat of water scarcity. History has shown how quickly we have ruined a safe water source. Sydney is located where it is today due to Captain Phillips's discovery of what he thought was a viable water source for the new colony, the Tank Stream. For thousands of years, the Tank Stream was a place of cultural significance for Aboriginal people and was used as an important source for fresh water, food, and resources. However, it took less than 40 years for the early settlers to pollute the Tank Stream so badly that the colony was forced to find an alternative water supply. The settlers then used this tank stream as a drain and sewer, and in the 1860s the pollution became so bad the tank stream had to be covered and the city grew above it. Until the late 1800s, Sydney's sewage was largely discharged straight into its harbour. Current strategies to combat water availability is to treat the wastewater and replenish river systems with this environmental flow, then extract kilometres downstream for drinking water. Penrith has one such system managed by Sydney Water. The Hawkesbury Nepean River is a water source that is used for things such as drinking water and wastewater, as well as water activities such as kayaking, fishing, water skiing, and even relaxing cruises for the less adventurous. For our project, we conducted a macroinvertebrate field study along the Hawkesbury Nepean River nearby wastewater treatment plants to determine the health status of the river. We conducted water quality tests using our own inexpensive testing equipment and then used the WaterBug Blitz app to help us with our macroinvertebrate field study. We will then compare our results to the ANZAC guidelines. We will then further research into current practices of wastewater treatment plants and research if there are other cleaner or better alternatives to the current system. Matt will now demonstrate the methodologies for our project.
G'day everyone, we're down here in a beautiful part of the Hawkesbury this morning just to show you some of the methodology and some of the equipment used in our sampling techniques. So we've got here is a D-net used for sampling the macros. We've got a pipette, didn't have forceps so we used chopsticks. Got a loom, this one is a 20 times loom. We have the notepad, we have gloves, white dishes, we have ice cream cubes so we can pipette and forcep the invertebrates into there for easy identification. Then we use a couple of bottles for the water quality test. Then we have a water quality meter. This is just the multi-function one, a very cheap one. And then we have a tape. And this is the 5 metre survey area that we will be conducting the survey in. Okay, we're going to do a water test now. And so I use a glass jar. Now I'm right-handed, so I will only use the machine with the left hand so I can write in my right hand. So when you turn the machine on, you leave it in there for calibrate for a couple of seconds, and that's a pH reading. So for example, the temperature is 20.0 degrees. Now the pH is 6.86. Then you just go down electric conductivity measured in microsiemens, and that's 284. And that's my phone. And you go down to the next one, total dissolved solids, that's 140. 141 actually, just changed. And that's salt. How much salt is in the water? 0.01%. And the oxidization reduction potential, which is really used for pools, so I don't really know how good this is, that is 67. Now, as an example, tap water was 533. So now I'll show you how to do the macro-invertible part of the study. So you got your D-net, and normally you'd have a metre extension pole, but seem to have left that at home. But the practice is the same. So, potential metre square here, and this is where I'm going to be taking the survey from. So you place the net in, 10 short jabs, covering about a metre, and then go back and pick it up. Then in your collection bucket, and then wash anything off the net. Make sure you got everything in there. Now you're ready to start sorting.
Unfortunately, we didn't find any invertebrates during Matt's demonstration, so here are some pictures from our actual field studies.
So now you've collected your samples, and now you want to do the water bug field app. It's a detailed survey, the river body. It's in the Hawkesbury River, North Richmond Bridge. There's your coordinates there. Then this is where you have to know your vegetation. All up it has to add up to 100%. So how much rocks, gravel, sand, leaves, aquatic plants, etc. So you fill that in, and then you add in your bugs. So here we have 5 species here, and you click on them and it will tell you what they are. Headbanger caddies, fish and wolf spiders. That was actually only a skin, so that doesn't count. Cranefly larvae, vulture caddy, and of course the glass shrimp. When you're happy with them, and then once you do submit the survey, it gives you this response. The spider is just a shed skin, so we would not normally count that. Can't quite confirm the tipulate. So that's, you know, it takes to take good, it costs to take good pictures. And there's your signal score. Site is impacted at North Richmond Bridge.
After repeating the testing 10 times at each site, here's the results for our water quality testing displayed visually in graphs, with the red line indicating the recommended ANZAC guideline for each variable. For electrical conductivity in Figure A, all sites are within the recommended guidelines for lowland rivers, as the range for electrical conductivity is between 125 to 2200 microsiemens per centimetre. For turbidity in Bigger Phi, we converted the ppm into NTU. The recommended guidelines for lowland rivers is 50 NTUs, and our results found that all sites are well above this recommendation. For pH in Figure C, you can see that North Richmond and Windsor Boat Ramp fall below the recommended guidelines for minimum pH for lowland rivers, thereby indicating that the water is too acidic. For oxidation reduction potential in Figure D, the recommended guideline for lowland rivers is between 300 and 500 millivolts, and all sites fall well below this recommendation. Therefore, we couldn't add in a line. Here are the results for our macroinvertebrate studies. As you can see, we did not find a huge range of diversity of different species of invertebrates for our sites, and the species we did find have a generally high pollution tolerance, noted by their signal score. And here are the results for Weenie Creek and Penrith Weir. Weenie Creek had the most species diversity found out of all the sites, however the site was still considered impacted according to the Waterbug app's signal scoring. Penrith Weir also had poor results for the signal score and was also considered a heavily impacted environment. Windsor had the worst results out of all sites and was the most heavily impacted. Windsor having the worst water quality scoring correlates with having the lowest signal scoring for macroinvertebrates, indicating that only extremely pollution-tolerant bugs are able to cope in those water quality conditions. Tench Reserve and Weenie Creek had the best results for water quality testing, although still not great results. However, this still appears to correlate with them having the highest signal scoring for macroinvertebrates, meaning more species are able to live in these conditions. Overall, conducting a macroinvertebrate survey with the help of the WaterBug app works as a quick assessment to determine water health. Backing the starter up with further water quality testing also helps to understand the relationship between macroinvertebrates and their pollution tolerance. So in conclusion, the entire Hawkesbury Nepean River is heavily polluted, both in recreational areas as well as near water treatment plants. According to our testing and surveying, there seems to be no additional effect on pollution levels from water treatment plant runoff compared to recreational areas. The macroinvertebrates that we found seems to accurately determine water quality health. Here is a Gantt chart showing the current progress and timeline of our project, with all the dates showing when we did our testing and surveying and what we have coming up next in the unit.